Hello everyone. First and foremost, I want to apologize for the bad video quality. I have better cameras that I could possibly record with. However, I wasn't able to mount them up. The video might be a little shaky and definitely bad quality. But if you guys like this video, I will most likely mount my professional camera onto the car for more videos to come with hopefully much better quality. Now, what I'm doing here is sort of learning this road. Yes, I'm driving the car in a more sporty performance style, which is usually referred to as mountain runs. A group of friends, a crew, maybe a single person can go up and have a mountain run, for those of you who don't know. And I assume that a lot of you do know. The thing about this video is that I'm going to be going over the positives and negatives of owning a Golf Mk6 2.5 liter. Which basically means that it's not the GTI, it's the Golf, the base model Golf, which at the time I was only able to purchase. And while it has its positives, getting a car for less value that can still perform pretty well, there are also some negatives when it comes to it sort of not performing as well as the rest of the cars. It makes you work harder in a sort of mountain run race scenario where there are a lot of people, and it gets a little competitive. You can be working harder than they are in their cars because they have that extra horsepower. I have raced with GTIs and it's been really hard to do. It's honestly, you struggle to even keep them in sight. Now, while I've rambled on about the Golf a little bit, I want to backtrack and sort of inform everyone that this is not a safe activity. Now, the thing is that I cannot be hypocritical and say that I'm not putting people in my life in danger. I am. But the thing is that I decide to put my life in danger and avoid putting everybody else's life in danger, which means that I go out to roads that are mostly, not very popular or not very often used, and I drive there for my, practice and for fun, and often for maybe just a totally relaxed nature drive. Now, here I'm sort of, not making the best decision. I am learning this road, and through learning this road, from these couple of clips that you'll see, there are a lot of obstacles, hazards, and many sort of things in the way. And through that, you can see that I have not made a good choice. This road is it's not as populated and used, but you do still get your bikers like you saw in the video, and you still do get other cars, and you have to be very wary. The thing is, in this place that I'm going here, I was actually pretty cautious. It might not seem so, but I'm actually going in a really controlled pace, maybe pushing the car around 50 to 60% of what it can achieve. Now, with that said, that's not quite slow, and the thing is that the car overall does perform pretty okay. Yes, it's a dangerous activity, but for those of you at least who enjoy it, you'll understand what I'm trying to say by, proposing that maybe you should go to sort of empty roads. Now back to the car. The car has 180, maybe 170 horsepower around there, and 177 pounds of torque. Now, that's not a lot, and it's shown me that sometimes, but then again, you can still take really good advantage of the power. It's sporty enough, it accelerates fast enough for it to be fun, and with a little bit of modding, it can be really a blast. It can be a really fun car to drive, especially to events like this, or just, for fun. It's a commuter, and it was inexpensive compared to the GTI. So having that in mind, it's actually a big save. Here you see some more footage of me driving in this one road, and I'm starting to learn it here, but I'm still not pushing the car to 100%. I've been to race events where I had to do that. It's not one of the most comforting things, but if the driver is well, sort of, if the driver is logical and he is also, or he or she has a good understanding of their car or their vehicle, they can certainly push it to a higher level than everyday driving. Now here, for example, I am trying to push the car a little bit, have the front wheels working a little bit more, and at the same time retain a little bit of control and keep off of it a little bit, not max its capabilities, because as this is a front wheel car, and with many front wheel cars, you'll know that they understeer a lot. Now, the thing about that is that, yes, if you don't know what you're doing, understeer will be dangerous. In fact, if you don't know what you're doing, a real wheel car with oversteer is going to be even more dangerous and more unpredictable. But if you can use that understeer on the front wheel car, if you know at what speed in a certain turn your car starts to heavily understeer, then you can just ride under that speed, and depending on the curvature of the turn, take the turn at max potential, or you can slow down. In general, to do this, you can slow down a lot before the turn and speed towards the end of it or through it even, or you can try to carry your momentums through the turn. Now, I do not know which technique works better, but I've used both in racing and in mountain runs like this. Now, this is a time trial here. The car definitely sounds good. It looks good, but it doesn't have too much to it. It doesn't stop it from being a really fun car, as you can see here. The feel of the suspension is rather soft, so while this is not the most sort of handling-wise best thing, it is still very comforting knowing that your car is talking to you. It literally talks to you when it's almost had its full amount of tilt. You also know that it's close to sort of, working at a 70% of its handling gripping capabilities. Here in this run, I believe I run in the rain. Now it's rained a lot, and so here, as you can see, I have to retain slower speeds for slippage not to occur. But overall, good, gas modulation keeps you going pretty well. And it keeps you steady, I guess. Also, ABS and traction control, they've kicked in a few times, and honestly, in race events and in runs where I've performed really well, those systems have worked a lot, and in fact, to the extent of saving my life a few times. So if you're thinking about turning the traction control off, it really won't benefit you. Keep it on. I suggest you keep it on. Now, in terms of how it's sort of paired up with other cars, yes, this car lacks in power, but I've pushed it to extremes which other drivers were not willing to push their cars, probably for the better. Probably they were being smart, and I was the one that was being stupid. But through doing that, I've kept up with a lot of fast cars. I've kept up with Camaros, and not only kept up, I've beaten them to it. And the thing is that, let's say, 370Z, Honda, Type R, those type of cars that, have a lot of capability in terms of horsepower, but not so much in terms of handling, are usually the ones where I perform the best, because I choose my roads carefully, and whenever there's some sort of event or casual sort of run where the friends want to go, sort of compete a little bit against each other, I choose roads with fewer straights, fewer long straights, and more turns, which honestly definitely helps me a lot, because your acceleration becomes sort of, I can't say useless, but it becomes less useful when you're literally cruising at a lot of small speeds. There you can keep sort of a constant speed and try to push through every turn by hitting the apexes and taking the turn right. In these videos, I don't get out of my lane too much. I don't like risking that. I only do it if I know that the road is closed, or if it's a very controlled environment like a track. And this is just, when I saw that there were people on this road was used every now and then, I did not want to exit my lane. In fact, I through all these runs, I do not push the car to nearly half of its potential, as I've explained earlier. The capabilities, even in the wet conditions here, are very good. Now, of course, with my upgrades, such as the wider tires that I've put on, and the catback exhaust, definitely, well, not so much the exhaust, but definitely the tires, it's helped a lot in terms of handling. Now, the exhaust definitely sounds good. It's added maybe 10 horsepower approximately, but that's, there's no guarantee for that, and even so, you cannot feel it. Now, I do suggest the A.W.E catback exhaust, which is what I have. For anyone else who has a Golf Mk6 2.5, they make the car sound amazing. You are more in tune with your revs. The car is very quiet without the catback exhaust, and it definitely is a big upgrade to the car in terms of sound and feel. Now, and of course, rims, as I have on the Momo Revenges, those actually look nice, but be aware because they can bend, as they have in mine. But definitely that was partially my mistake. Through this type of driving, not all rims are created equal. Thank you so much for watching. It was honestly just a rant, but I wanted to put this first video out there to see who would be interested, because I know there's a lot of 2.5ers out there who do not have the representation they need. Thank you so much, and have a great day.